All right, guys, welcome back out to the farm. So today is a little weird. We did not post a episode for the past 2 weeks because we have been working really hard to get some stuff done, but it's not really enough to give you guys a proper episode. And we don't want to give you guys just, a short clip, 3 or 4 minute clip of what we're actually doing when we're not doing anything of importance or note. And now it's Friday before we crane in. Tomorrow, the crane is going to be here at 7 o'clock in the morning. We're going to be ready. We're going to crane everything in. Now, what you can or can't see off to the side of me is we got in 2 more containers from my parents. We got the floors done in both of our containers, and we actually put up the back wall in one of our containers, me and Lacey's. Our foundations are poured, and we've actually marked the 2 new containers everywhere that needs to be grinded. So that is why we haven't gotten an episode out. This can just be our, pre-episode recap of what we actually have accomplished thus far. And later on in this episode, you're going to get to see us crane in. So I'm going to show you guys the 2 new containers, and then we're going to cut to Saturday, and you guys are going to see, well, like I said, it's craning day, baby. I'll catch you guys in just a second. So I've just got a real quick clip here of the 2 containers that we got from my parents. So we got another orange one right here. Another Hapagloid, however you say that. We got another one of these, and everywhere you see these little gray markings that you may or may not can see on camera, all that thunder sounds good. Everywhere you see these gray bits is where we got to grind. Down there's a green one. That would be their second one. Haven't figured out how exactly we're laying them up yet, but here they are. So here we go. We're about to get to work, grind these. We're gonna prime the sides that are gonna be touching, and we're gonna get everything out of the way that could possibly interfere with our craning. All the wood scraps, all the forms, all of our cut trees we've cut down, all of it. Everything's gotta go. We gotta get everything out of the containers and store them all out of the way so that nothing can interfere. We don't have to do anything because we gotta get out here at friggin' 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, which is earlier than we've started any other day. So, tag along for the ride, and here we go. All right, guys, so here we go, craning all of the things. So here we started by moving the red container, what was the shop container. We thought we were going to have to move it to get it out of the way for us to move all of the black containers. In essence, we wound up using it somewhere else later. But here you can see basically what we had to do to move each container. We had to hook it on all 4 corners, and then one of us would grab a corner and pull as the crane operator would slowly rotate the top of the boom. We actually wound up getting 20 gigabytes of footage, almost 12 hours total worth for this whole day. So we went through and kind of just cherry picked and was very selective about what we were going to show, just due to the sheer amount we were able to procure in one day of footage. It was more than we ever thought we could get in one day, and we basically just had to cut through it. But here, you can see us hooking up the first black container. So because of where the containers were dropped, and you can see in this shot how far away I am standing on that corner to where the foundations are. So we determined that the crane was going to have to move a total of 3 times from where it originally sat right there, being number 1, to get the containers onto the foundation. So, and sometimes it actually took 2 of us to get these things positioned when we're moving them. You can see me here struggling to get this bad boy to rotate, and Lacey filming, and then as you watch, Lacey wound up having to have to jump in to help me not run the whole container into the crane. And that was probably one of the most sketchy containers we had to move, just because the wind was kind of picking up here. But once we determined that we'd gotten that one situated, we had to unhook it and get it moved again. And there you can see we're busting out the ladder, just giving you kind of a clip of what we had to do every single time. And that shows between each one of the container moves that you see on screen, we had to do this twice. We had to put the ladder on, climb up, and hook up the container, climb back down, move the container. Once we got it where we wanted it temporarily, climb back up, unhook it, and reposition the crane again to pick up the next container. But obviously here you can see we got that second black container hooked up. We're getting it flown into place now. I think we put it right next to the other black one just to try to keep them all somewhat centrally located. And this was a full day of craning too. Like I said, we got 12 hours of footage of us working these out. And this sped up dramatically just to try to be able to show some essence of what we went through. You can also see my father grabbing the other end of that lead, trying to help pull, and Lacey guiding that corner. I mean, this is we had 3 hands on this container just trying to get it put into the right place. And here's another shot of here's a shot of the third black container being moved, trying to get it put into place. No, this is still the second one. I'm sorry. This is the second black container still being moved again. But yeah, you can see that was the center one. This is just another angle from where we had to have 3 hands on this one to position it properly. But I mean, sometimes it's a booger to move, and you got to have everybody you got. And here we go for the third and final black container. Now, this one was difficult because we actually had to fly this one. We had to pick it up above the red container there. As you can see me holding on for dear life. There was actually 1 or 2 points where I was about to get picked up off the ground by this container moving because I was trying to hold on to it to control it. And we actually ran it into a bunch of trees and broke some branches. But, I mean, hey, it happens. But you could see here we had to fly this one not only over the red one, but then over the other 2, rotate it almost 360 degrees to get it to sit where we wanted it to sit and how we wanted it to sit, just to try to get it where we could move the crane again to lift it for the second time to hopefully get them closer. See, there you can see the full painted side. So this is the outside container. And of course you can see Dad supervising real good right there, just making sure he's not going to get crushed and making sure I'm doing it right. This is the other part you don't see a lot of, is we had to set that down and pick it back up again, and just to make sure that it actually sits flat. Now here is the second position of the crane, where we move the crane to reposition the containers a second time closer to the foundation. Because like I said, we knew we were going to have to do 3 hops total to get them moved along. So here you can see where we kind of had to work this one up onto the hill. And we actually wound up stacking railroad ties under that side just to be able to get it to stay. And then here we're moving the second one. You really can't see it because the third container is in the way, but luckily Lacey was up there to adjust the zoom. As we swing this one, we had to pick it up over the other one just to try to get a little bit of clearance in there as we slid it forward. We kept running into an issue, though, where, as you can see, that big mound of dirt is right in front of that perk test hole. And we had to keep fighting with getting the crane closer and closer. But here's the closest we could get the crane, and here we go trying to maneuver that center container into place. And this is honestly a great feeling seeing this footage now, but that day we were out there, it was indescribable, the concept of we're finally putting the containers on this foundation. And we cut out so much of this footage right here because that container hovered in place over those foundations for probably 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes to more, as we were trying to, just bump it inches forward and backward to get it to line up on the foundations. And our crane operator had already told us that he couldn't get any closer because, as you can see, the distance between the end of that container and the crane, it's all mud. So the crane couldn't get any closer, otherwise it risked sinking into the mud. And that was on the very edge of what our crane could reach out and touch. So here we go with the other side container. This one was just easy off the hill, reaching it out. And again, it hovered over that foundation for forever as we just nudged it, trying to get it perfectly over those metal plates that we had put into the foundations that we were going to weld the containers to try to secure everything down to the foundation. I mean, you get to see me pull in, Dad pull in. I mean, we had to be so surgical with this because you're realizing we're flying a 9,000-pound container that's 40 foot long, almost 10 foot in the air, and we're trying to move it an inch or two. And here we go for that third container right here, trying not to take out as many trees as possible, but we decided just to go straight up and over, trying not to fall into that perk test hole right there. Dad straddled on the outside, and and I'm coming behind slowly. You can see just slowly inching it over, dragging that tree with it, trying not to tear up too much of our good shade for that side of the house. You can see me coming into frame any moment here now with my end of the container. There I am trying not to fall in that hole because I almost did. You can see us trying to just, again, inching it over. That this was, I cannot specify how meticulous we had to be here and how long it took just to get those containers dead even in place. And if we were to do it again, I really don't think there's any way we could have done better or done more, just because of how hard it was just to inch them at that point. We could have gotten a bigger crane, but even that wouldn't have helped much. And here we go with Lacey just taking that overall shot. You can see the actual time-lapse camera there as Lacey's bringing it down. And there we go, guys. We now have a house on the foundation.
They're just finalizing the last container's location. They're all on.
Alright, y'all, it has been the longest day we have been out at the farm thus far. We got up at 5:30 this morning. We were out here by 6:30 and we got started. We cleaned out all the containers. We prepped the site for crane. We backfilled some of the foundation stuff, and then the crane got here. And as soon as we got here, we got to work. We started by moving around a few containers. As I'm sure you've seen at this point, we got my parents' house put on their foundation, the shop put on its foundation, and we got our house put on our foundation. So our 3 containers are now black on the front and sides and on the back. White on the inside on the foundation. My parents' containers are on their foundation over there, if you can see that from here. Basically, it has been a long day. All of us are exhausted. We paid the man so he could get out of here. Now we're gonna go home and take the coldest shower possible. I want ice cubes falling on my face.
It has been hot today, too, to boot.
But we got lucky, and God blessed us because we did not have any thunder or lightning. We did not have any high winds, and it didn't start sprinkling till just now, after we were done, and the crane left, and it started sprinkling. So, hallelujah. Longest day at the farm ever. I'm sure it's gonna be the first of many as we continue down this process. We really appreciate you guys watching. We really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you like and subscribe to this video. Stay tuned. We try to upload on Wednesdays, so this video should come out on a Wednesday. If not, we either succeeded and did better or we failed. You guys can be the judge of that. But we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.
Bye.